In every family, love and attention are essential for a child's growth. But what happens when that care is absent? This is the heartbreaking story of Tund and Teo, 8-year-old twin brothers, who, in their search for attention, find themselves on a dangerous path. Stay with me as we uncover their journey and the power of love and intervention in healing the wounds of neglect. Emeka and Akina were 8-year-old twin brothers. They looked the same, but Emeka was brave and loved adventures, while Akina was quiet and shy. The twins often stayed alone because their parents, Mr. and Mrs. Charlie, worked long hours. Mr. Charlie worked in an office, and Mrs. Charlie worked as a nurse. Most days, the twins ate dinner alone. They spent their evenings watching TV. One evening, Emeka and Akina saw a movie with grown-ups doing things that made Akina feel uncomfortable. The characters were close and touching each other in ways Akina didn't understand. Emeka thought it looked exciting and wanted to try it. "Come on, Akina," Emeka said. "It's not bad. Let's try it. No one will know." Akina felt scared. "I don't want to do it, Emeka. It feels wrong." But Emeka kept asking, convincing Akina it would be okay. Akina didn't want to disappoint his brother, so he agreed, even though he didn't feel right about it. Afterward, Akina felt sad and confused. "Stop, Emeka, please," Akina cried, but Emeka didn't listen. He kept asking Akina to do it again. When their parents weren't around, especially at night, Akina felt trapped and cried every time. He tried to talk to his dad. One night, he went to Mr. Charlie. "Dad, please," Akina said, pulling at Mr. Charlie's sleeve. "I don't like what Emeka is doing. It feels wrong." But Mr. Charlie didn't look up from his work. "I'm busy. Go play with your brother," he said. Akina felt very sad and alone. His dad didn't listen to him, and he didn't know what to do. One day, Mr. Charlie's friend, Uncle Chijiok, came over. He was a kind man who visited often. This time, he heard Akina crying from the bedroom. When he went inside, he saw Emeka hurting Akina and Akina begging him to stop. Shocked and angry, Uncle Chijiok stopped Emeka. "What is going on here?" he asked. Akina was crying. "Please, Uncle Chijiok, make him stop. I don't want to do it." Uncle Chijiok hugged Akina and said, "Emeka, this is wrong. You're hurting your brother." He looked at Emeka. "Emeka, what you did is wrong. Brothers should never hurt each other. Do you understand?" Emeka stood still, scared and confused. He didn't know why Uncle Chijiok was so angry. He could only hear Akina crying. Uncle Chijiok sat down with Akina. "Akina, I'm so sorry. You had to go through this. You should never feel like your voice doesn't matter." Akina wiped his tears. "I told Dad, but he didn't listen," Akina said. "I didn't want to do it. I didn't know how to stop." Uncle Chijiok said, "You did the right thing by telling someone. We'll make sure you get help." He turned to Emeka, his voice softer. "Emeka, you're just a child, but you need to understand that what you did was wrong. It's not how we treat the people we care about." Emeka's lip trembled. "I didn't mean to hurt him. I thought it was okay. We saw it on TV." Uncle Chijiok nodded. "What you see on TV isn't always right. Just because something looks exciting doesn't mean it's safe or good." Uncle Chijiok called Mr. and Mrs. Charlie. When they came home, they were shocked to hear what had happened. Mrs. Charlie gasped, and Mr. Charlie looked pale. "What happened?" Mr. Charlie asked. Uncle Chijiok explained, "Emeka and Akina have gone through something very bad, and we need to talk about it." Mrs. Charlie immediately went to Akina and hugged him. "I'm so sorry, Akina. We didn't pay enough attention. We should have been there for you. We'll make it right." Emeka looked at his parents, feeling ashamed. "I didn't mean to hurt him. I didn't know it was wrong." Mr. Charlie stood up. "Emeka, what you did was wrong, but we'll help you understand why, and we'll make sure it doesn't happen again. You both deserve to be safe and loved." The family, with Uncle Chijioki's help, decided to get help for Emeka and Akina. They started going to counseling so they could learn about healthy relationships and boundaries. Uncle Chijiok visited often to check on their progress. Emeka began to understand how much he hurt Akina. He promised to never hurt him again. Akina, though still upset, felt better knowing that someone listened to him. Months went by, and the family started to heal. Mr. and Mrs. Charlie spent more time with the twins, helping them with schoolwork and just being there for them. They worked to make sure Emeka and Akina felt safe and loved. One evening, during dinner, Akina said, "I'm glad we're together. Emika smiled and nodded. Mr. Charlie put a hand on their heads and said, "We will always be here for you. You mean more to us than anything." Lesson learned in this story is that no matter how busy parents are, they should always make time to give their children the attention, care, and love they need. Children need to feel heard, understood, and safe, and it's the responsibility of parents to make sure they are there for them, especially when they're going through difficult times.